Hey guys, Mark here. In this video, I want to talk to you about why I believe that winning products as a concept is a lie. I believe that it is a lie that was created by gurus and to kind of convince you that if there's for whatever reason that you're not seeing success in e-commerce and dropshipping, it's all because of the product. But I think this is a very, very flawed way of thinking. And I want to show you the exact way that I actually think about things differently, okay? And so if you think of kind of the standard path that most people go through is they will, number one, they're always going to find a product. And after they find a product, obviously they're going to build a store. And then you're actually going to go through and test the product on, let's say, paid ads, for example. And what happens when people go through this process typically is that right after they find the product, they build a store, and they actually test the product on ads, what happens? They lose money. And what most people do at this point is they go right back to stage one and they say, God darn it, this product was not a winning product, I guess. I just didn't hit the lottery with this particular product. Now we have to go back to the drawing board and actually retest another product. And they just continue this cycle over and over and over again. They test the product, lose money. Test the product, lose money. And every single time they're blaming it on the same exact thing, which is the product. When in reality, yes, the product is important. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that a product is not important. However, there's more than the product that goes into being successful when it comes to dropshipping. With a product can carry your way to success if you have no idea what you're doing. If you have like an S tier product, these are extremely, extremely rare to find. And I never recommend people to start with this strategy. Instead of going about this process, I want to challenge you to simply think a different way. I'm not going to tell you like step by step, but I promise you, if I change the way that you think, it's going to make you more money compared to just like some other product research tutorial or some Facebook ads tutorial. Just understand this one reframe is going to make you more money than any other little tutorial that I were to put out on this channel. And so what we're going to do instead of doing it this way is we're still going to find a product. I'm not going to talk about how to find a product because it really doesn't matter in this example. We're still going to build a store. And you know what? We're still actually going to test that product on ads. What really changes is what happens after you test the product on ads. Because if you kind of think with the old way, the lazy dropshipper way, as I like to call it, as soon as you see that you're not profitable on that initial launch, let's say you spend $100 on ads, $200, $300 on ads, $500 on ads, and you're not profitable, that's the only metric that you look at. But I want to challenge you to think a different way. So instead of thinking that way, let's say you test a product on ads, right? You still lose money. Notice how the outcome is still the exact same. Now the difference between the lazy dropshipper and the winning branded dropshippers is the winning branded dropshippers, they actually lose money and then they ask themselves a very, very important question. And that question is why? I never believe that the game of like testing a product on paid ads is a game of gambling because you know that you don't ever actually lose money. You only buy data. I'm gonna say that again. You don't lose money, you buy data. And so the problem is most of these lazy dropshippers, they have no idea how to actually analyze ad data and funnel data to actually identify what the breakdown is. So I was recently training somebody on my team and I was teaching them basically how to run ads from scratch. The process that I taught this team member was basically where is the breakdown occurring? So in this video, I want to actually show you exactly how to identify what the real constraint is, where you can identify exactly what it is about this initial test that you did that caused it to not be profitable. And then with one simple tweak, one simple relaunch, you can actually be profitable. And so the strategy here is anytime that you launch a product and you're unprofitable, there's a reason for it. So your job is to ask why. And so let me kind of show you how I actually go about this decision-making process, because there's only two possible reasons that your ad in the ad launch that you did was not successful. So the first breakdown that can be happening is an ad side breakdown. And so again, always ask your question, where's the breakdown occurring? Number one, it's either occurring at the ad level, or number two, it's occurring at the funnel level. And if you're wondering what funnel level means, all I mean when I say the word funnel in this particular circumstance is simply the process when you get somebody to land on your website for the very first time and then go through every step to where they actually purchase. So if you're running a regular PDP, a product page, and you're sending your traffic there, you have the product page, then you have the add to cart page and initiate checkout page, and then the success page, like the thank you page. That's the funnel that I'm referring to in this case. So you either have a funnel related breakdown or an ad related breakdown. Now, the only question is, of course, how do you know which breakdown it is? And then how do you actually solve it? Okay. The evidence, if you have an ad side breakdown, right? Let's say you spend $300 on ads and you're going to your ads account, you're analyzing the data. what you want to be looking for is, are my ad metrics either within a KPI or outside of a KPI? And so the first KPI that you want to look for is going to be your ad side metrics. For example, your CPMs. Second is going to be your CTR. Third is going to be your CPC. And to be real with you, I actually did this in the reverse order. The most important is the CPC, and then CTR, and then CPMs. Because even if you have ridiculously low CTR, which ideally you actually want a high CTR, let's say your CTR is like 0.5%, not a very good click-through rate in this particular case. If your CPMs are low enough, your CPC is still going to be pretty low. Like if you have $5 CPMs and you have a really low CTR, your CPC could still be like under $1. And so the KPIs that I want you guys to shoot for in this particular case to identify where the ad constraint is if your CPMs are, let's say, this one is like very highly dependent on what you're running, but you have CPMs that are over $30, that could be an ad side breakdown. If your CTR is less than 3%, that would be an ad side breakdown. And finally, let's say that you're running traffic specifically in the United States. If your CPC is over, so greater than $1.50, then that would be another ad side breakdown. So whenever you launch your ads again, I want you to keep this video open, and you're going to go through and you're actually going to set up your columns in a way where you can identify this data very, very easily. And if you don't know the exact columns that you should kind of have set up within your ads manager, just go to my Instagram at MarkBuildsBrands and DM me the word columns, and I'll send it to you for free so that you can kind of keep it in your back pocket. But what you're looking for initially, number one, is actually going to be the CPC. So when you start spending money on ads, let's say that you have a CPC of $3 and you're running ads in the United States. That's a very expensive CPC in the e-commerce industry. And so again, this depends a lot on the niche that you're testing, but this would mean all of these actually typically mean the same thing, which is that there's either a number one, I'm gonna move over a little bit. There's either number one, a creative problem, which basically means that the ad that you're actually running is simply not good enough to get enough people to click through at a high rate. And then number two would be an audience problem. So maybe your creatives are actually really good, but just because you're targeting the wrong pocket of audience, you're not actually making money. Now listen, I know I spelled that wrong, but listen, I know that 99% of the time, and I'm speaking from my own experience here, it's actually a creative problem. I can't even tell you how most people have no clue how to actually create highly persuasive creatives on Facebook ads, on TikTok ads, on any platform in general. They just don't know how to create highly converting creatives. And so typically, this is the number one issue that I see. It's typically a creative issue. If you diagnose your funnel and you look through the columns, you see, wow, man, my CPMs are really high. My CTR is really low. My CPC is really high. What that means is that your creative is not getting pushed in the algorithm because it's not actually getting people to your website in an efficient manner that Facebook likes. You have to understand that Facebook's whole goal as a platform is to get as many people onto the platform as humanly possible and create a positive user experience. If you have ads that are, for example, highly aggressive, that have before and afters, that are saying specific kind of trigger words that you don't want to say in your ads, guess what? You're going to be penalized. If the ad isn't rejected, that doesn't mean that Facebook doesn't like it. They could still not like it, but kind of do a little penalization in terms of increasing your CPMs or even just sending you lower quality traffic. So that's when it would actually be an audience issue. So if you see, for example, that your creatives are killing it, like your CPMs are fine, your CTR is very high, your CPC is very low, however, you're still not really converting people, that could be an audience issue. And what I mean by audience issue, this is very rarely the problem. Once again, I just want to be super clear. It's typically a creative issue. But if it is an audience issue, then you need to adjust the targeting at the ad set level. If you're running, for example, Advantage Plus, maybe try testing interests. If you're running broad, maybe try testing some really, really broad interests instead of just keeping it wide open. Just play around with the targeting. And this method of just split testing like you're a mad scientist, I promise you, it's going to save you so much money in the long term. So that's the first side of constraints that you want to identify. Again, you go through the ads, you spend some money. The question you're asking is, where is the breakdown occurring? So let's say your ads are great. Your CTR is good, CPC is fine, CPMs aren't too bad. What is the real breakdown now? Well, what that tells Facebook is that you're getting people off of their platform in a very efficient manner, which is good. Facebook is okay with that. They know that very good ads are actually going to take users off of their platform. That's okay. That's part of running sales campaigns in general. Now, the next question you want to ask is, what if there is a funnel side constraint? where would that breakdown be occurring? What would that breakdown really look like? And you're going to see that manifest really in a few different ways. Number one, and most importantly, is going to be your conversion rate. So if you have a conversion rate that is under 3%, that is going to be a funnel side constraint. I'll tell you right now, the two most common things that I see is either going to be a creative issue or a funnel issue, specifically getting people to add the product to the cart in the first place. So again, I'm speaking specifically if you're running like that PDP funnel that I mentioned earlier. So if your conversion rate is under 3%, that means that your landing page is not doing its job. If your ads are good, all the ad sets are within KPI, but your conversion rate is, let's say, 1%, your sales page is not doing its job. You don't have persuasive enough copy on the page. You don't have enough, benefit-driven gifts, for example, that is actually showing people how the product works. Maybe you're focusing too much on the features instead of the benefits and the outcomes that people will get. And so the conversion rate typically I see manifest in two different ways. Number one is going to be your add to cart ratio. Okay, so my goal is always going to be over 10%. And you can actually see this on your Shopify dashboard. What is the percentage of people that land on your page and are marked as a content view? How many of them actually add the product to cart? The KPI here is 10%. If you're at like 5% or like 3%, that is a huge needle that you can move. And what you need to do is split test different landing pages. So whether that's just changing the copy and the images on the PDP, that's fine. Whether that's building a custom landing page, like a custom sales page through something like Pagefly or through something like GemPages, that works as well too. I've ran with both successfully before. Or maybe you want to just take the leap and build a whole direct response style funnel through another platform like Funnelish or Checkout Champ. Whatever it is, your ads are doing their job. They're pulling the weight. That's good. That's something that's difficult to crack. Most people never crack that. Now you need to work on the funnel and get people to actually convert. And so this is one issue that I see is going to be that add to cart ratio. And then the other is going to be basically your add to cart to purchase ratio. So let's say that you actually do have, 100 add to carts, right? In this case, what is the KPI for getting 100 add to carts to actually go through and purchase? Well, the KPI that we have internally is a minimum of 30%. So if you have 100 add to carts, that means that in an ideal world, you have at least 30 people that actually purchase. And again, this can all be tracked within the Shopify analytics. It's very easy to see. And so again, it's kind of like a linear decision-making process where first you ask yourself, am I profitable? The question typically is no. So you ask why? Where is the breakdown occurring? Is it an ad breakdown or is it a funnel side breakdown? Okay, let's say it's a funnel side breakdown. If your conversion rate is under 3%, the question is why? Okay, well, let's see. Is our add to cart ratio good? Okay, let's say the add to cart ratio is good. The sales page is doing its job. The product page is doing its job. Great. The breakdown in this example, let's say, is I have, 30 add to carts, but I only have 2 purchases. That would be another constraint that you would have to solve. That would be the real root cause of the issue. A lot of people, they just throw money at ads, see that it's not profitable, and then they quit. That's not how business works. That's not how paid ads work. It doesn't even matter actually if you're running paid ads, any traffic in general, you need to understand this principle. You need to have an add to cart ratio of ideally 10% or more, and then the add to cart to purchase ratio of at least 30%. And so if all of these metrics are in check, I'll tell you right now, you will be running a hyper profitable business, hyper profitable. Your ads are killing it. Your funnel is killing it. All you have to do now is run more ads, spend more money on ads. It's that simple. Now, in the very, very rare case that your ads are good and your conversion rate is, there should be over 3%, or that's if it's bad. I'm sorry. So if you have a bad conversion rate, that's under 3%. Maybe, and again, this is not very rare, but maybe you're not profitable simply because your average order value is too low. So our KPI, this really, really depends on the price of the product that you're selling. I think a good KPI for your AOV is 2x your front end product price. So let's say that I'm selling a product for $30 on my Shopify store. If I run a little bit of traffic, I see that I'm not profitable. I go through this whole decision-making process. My conversion rate's good, add to cart ratio is good. The only thing that's not good is my average order value. And the way that I would know that, once again, on the Shopify dashboard, if you're selling a product for $30, the KPI would be your AOV is a minimum of 60. And honestly, this is really conservative. I would even say go as high as 3x your front end product price. So if I'm selling for 30, then the AOV could be all the way up to $90. And if you're sitting back thinking, Mark, how is that even possible? That sounds like insane. I thought that some upsells and some order bumps would maybe boost the AOV by like $5, $10, maybe $20. 3xing is just ridiculous. And to that, I say, I'm doing it. I'm doing it literally right now. And I also have many friends that are doing it right now. I know one of the biggest brand owners in this space has an average order value of $200. Yet his front end product price is only like 70. And so think about that. That's almost a 3x of your front end product price. So again, this whole process is going to help you diagnose the real root cause of the problem, the real breakdown. So again, instead of going about this process like an NPC and just following the basic bitch advice that's all over YouTube, where you just throw money on ads, you get really confused, lose money, and then you get scared and turn everything off. Don't do that. I'm telling you from experience, that is how you make emotional decisions and never make any real money. Instead, you're going to put on your freaking big boy pants and you're going to read the data, because again, you don't lose money with paid ads. You're buying data. It's a game of optimization. It's not just, oh, I tested this, I'm not profitable on the first day, screw this, turn everything off. No, that's not how the freaking game works. You still find a product, build a store, test money on ads. If you're not profitable, guess what? Why? Is it an ad side breakdown or funnel side breakdown? Well, let's look at the ad stats. What are my CPM, CTR, CPC? Are they within KPI? No? Okay, well then that means that it's either a creative problem, most likely in, again, 99% of cases, creative problem, or it's an audience problem. Yes, I know I spelled that wrong. Now let's say that your creatives are all perfect, right? Amazing CPCs, great CTR, just the most highly engaging, high curiosity, conversion-driven creatives to ever touch the face of this earth. Let's say that your ads are great. Now you want to look into your funnel. What is your conversion rate? If it's under 3%, you're not going to make it. If your add to cart ratio specifically is not over 10% or at least close to 10%, you're not going to make it. If your add to cart to purchase ratio isn't ideally close to 30%, you're not going to make it. And then finally, look at your AOV. Shoot for at least 2 to 3x of your front end product price, okay? So I hope you guys understand this. When I went through this process myself, like again, this is something that I wish I knew when I was just starting out, because this would have saved me so many freaking headaches over the years. I can't even tell you how much money I would have saved if I understood this. Ads and like just generally running a successful e-commerce business, it's a game of constant optimization. It's not just throwing shit at the wall and then seeing that nothing sticks and then leaving. It's throwing shit at the wall, looking at what sticks and asking yourself, why? Why did this stick and then this didn't? And this is why this decision-making process is so powerful. And again, this is all stuff that we teach within Brand Builders Academy. We take it to an even deeper level so that you can analyze sub KPIs within your ads. For example, like your thumbnail stop rate, your hold rate, and other custom metrics that we have on the ads dashboard. And the same thing with the funnel. We have these custom metrics that we're looking for so that you can get really, really nitty gritty. Okay, so if you want to apply for Brand Builders Academy, you want somebody to hold your hand all the way to 1K a day, just click the first link in the description. Other than that, guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video. Again, share this with a friend who needs to hear it, because for me, if somebody showed me this video 6 years ago when I got started, my mind would have been blown and I probably would have saved so much freaking money. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.